Maybe one for yoga or for one for both?
So what we're going to do now is actually, we're doing mornings with Rico. Coffee mornings with Rico. And one thing that we're going to talk about today, Rico, which is slightly out of the pool, right, is you've been around the block when it comes to coaching. You've coached hundreds, literally hundreds of Olympic athletes, and you've coached many, many tens of thousands who didn't make the Olympics. And you've seen rejection and loss at every level of the game, the whole way up to making your national team for Olympics, right? What I want to ask is, for those kids that don't necessarily make it, what's the advice that you'd give them for, you know, to deal with that tough loss? Do you know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
We're recording.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Now you're a superstar in South
Yeah,
Africa.
exactly. Here we are at the Sol Vita Cafe, everybody. Drop on in.
No, of course, I have no problem.
Okay.
And I've seen that, and you know, I think the major, like, hardest thing for me, you know, as long as I've been coaching, and has been over 50, but just for example, at World Championships, 6 of them, at Olympic Games, 3 of them, 9. The last 9 cuts I made.
The last 9.
Because
Okay.
you can only take 13. The kid that was number 14.
Yeah.
9 cuts.
Doesn't make. Sorry, Chanel. Okay.
You know, so the last 9 kids, because those 9 kids did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
They tried just as hard as anybody else. They were amazing athletes.
Yeah.
And only 3 of them came back for the next Olympics or next Worlds and ended up making that. But there's 6 of them that trained for 8 years and didn't make it. But they didn't do anything wrong. This is the other thing that kids need to understand. Just because they have a bad day, it doesn't mean that they did something wrong. It just means you tried your best and it wasn't enough.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you did your best. Now, if you go into a tryout and you go in there and you were thinking about it, you didn't prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, you may not went to bed too late, and then you don't make it, I have no words for you.
Yeah.
But if you go over there and you did everything right, and you did your best, and you worked, you know, hard, you prepared for it, okay, just do it the next time, because you have to keep doing that in life. You're not always going to have that immediate success.
Yeah.
You know, and that is becoming more and more of a problem now, because more and more you're into the instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to wait a couple years before my dad would just really come around and says, you know what, you did a great job out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he would wait until I actually gave my best for him to go ahead and give me gratification. He just didn't give me gratification because I went out 50% or went out 75%.
And he didn't even matter if you made the team with
Not
your
at all.
50%.
He never, in all the, you know, both, you know, my brother and I are both Olympians. We're all successful in our family. But I remember the greatest things that I remember from my dad. It was never about the success you achieved, or if you made the team, or if you scored the goal.
Yeah.
It was more like, you do your best? Yes. Proud of you.
Next.
Walk away. Because when it comes down to it, that's how it matters. If you go out there and you were better than you were the day before, you gave you 100%, what else can you expect from that person? Because everything else, you have no control of it. And to me, it's foolish to worry about things you have not control. To me, it's like I tell these kids for ODP, for America, when they all try out for something, and I go, did you do your best? Did you go out there and really work hard? Yes, yes, yes. Great job.
So that's really like, and I think you hit an amazing thread there of, if you do your best, don't hit yourself over the accomplishments. As we both know, we're both big fans of John Wooden. John Wooden was effort over scoreboard every day of the week.
The problem is, it's like I said, when you come down to it, like you got a medal. You really, is this the part that you really want, is the medal? Because the medal, you can buy one. So what is that has really meant something? The journey. How did I get to that medal? How many people did I have to go better than? How many friends did I make? How many experiences in life I have enriched myself? I mean, that's what the medal is about, not about the medal.
Yeah.
It's about the journey to the medal. So as far as I'm concerned, it says whenever you go into these tryouts or you're going to these tests or you're going into these games, that's just steps. Do you celebrate every step you do when you go up into a stepway? No. You start here and you end there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you can just be thinking, you can be looking at other things, you can do whatever. So this is the problem. A lot of times we're so concerned about the end. That is why what I always say, that's kind of a Riconism, when I basically say it's not about the dream, it's about the goals to get the dream.
I love it.
The dream is a dream. I mean, we dream every day, and most people do. You know, they dream every day. That's a dream, that's there. How are you going to get to that dream? Right? You have to set up goals to get to that dream. So that ODP is one of the goals to set up that dream, you know, to make that team. They struggle that days. Everything is a step to get to that goal, to get to that goal, to get to that dream.
And then, okay, but now, let's say you get to a tryout, you don't make it, and as you said, you know, as long as you put your effort in, that's fine. Would you recommend or advise those players, do they go through a grievance period? Would you give them the time to be upset about it, or do you say, okay, immediately from the get-go, let's go?
We know that physically speaking, you should be able to recover pretty quick, right? So if you have trained correctly and if you've done your training in a matter of form, you know, you should be able to recover 72 hours, you should be able to be fine. I mean, if somebody's still hurting after 72 hours, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so that's physical.
Yeah.
Mental, the reason most Olympians after the Olympic Games take sometimes as much as a month to 6 weeks off, it takes longer. Because your mind is a lot more powerful than your muscles, okay? Mind over muscles, right? So the bottom line is that when you have something that affected your mind, your emotion, that mental, the mental game, if you haven't had good training on how to deal with failure, how to deal with steps, how to deal with adversities, it can take a while and it can also break you down. So what I advise is when they finish something like this, instead of feeling bad about it, is go back and relive the situation. Like, what did I do? What could I have done better? What could I have not said? What could have, you know, what maybe I didn't make it because, you know, I was maybe passing with one guy that's my buddy too long and I wasn't really going out and doing different things. So if you can then relive the situation and evaluate the situation, then you should be able to be back in about 3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days. So that's amazing. So give yourself that time to mentally recoup.
Well, you have to deal with it because mentally is what we are. We're mental creatures. I mean, you know, it's like I said, a dog might not see you for a year, but he sees you. His first move is not to come in and jump on you, it's to smell you. Because what he smells for a dog is reliving the memories.
Yeah.
So that means with the dog, you watch it. You've seen videos and whatever. When you don't see somebody comes into the army or whatever, you have the dog see for you. First thing is, who's there with it? Then all of a sudden, what he is smelling is the time that he cuddled with you when he was a puppy. And like that memory, and that's why dogs need to walk to get the smells, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea. Guess what? Humans are the same way. Humans are the same way. So when that something happens, the last thing you want to know is go talk about it. What you want to do is think about it. Because if you think about it, you're reliving through your mental and physical, you know, aspect of your life. When if you're talking to someone, you're just hearing somebody else say it gets you even more frustrated. And that's the worst thing is the wheel watching.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. You're so good. The fuck, man. Excuse me. You know, what I mean, you know, stop telling me I'm so good. I didn't make the team. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
What you should be saying is, so how did you do? You went out to the best. What did you think it was like? What I asked the kids. So what did you think you struggled with? So what was the part of the game that you felt that you could have done better? You know, I am going to motivate his mind to think about the things he did well, the things that he did okay, the things he could do better. I'm never going to ask you, what did you do wrong?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? That's just thinking negative. So I'm not going to ask a kid, for example, when he finished, like, so what did you really do bad? No, I usually ask, like, what are the things you felt really comfortable? What are the things you felt like you struggled a little bit? That's a positive way to ask you to relive the situation. And if you can learn to use your brain as a filter, you'll be amazed how good you will feel every day.
And turn on that growth mindset rather than So we've covered, and I know that there's so much more to talk about in these things, but I love being able to have coffee with Rico in the morning.
Yeah. And we should have that coffee with Rico.
Coffee with Rico, that's our new series. On this thread though, Rico, so we've covered the athlete. For the parents, now you've said before, the parents are the support structure. They're not the coach, they're not the manager. Stay away from pool deck, that's not your job. How would you advise the parents to be emotionally there for the kids?
I think, that's actually a great question, and one of the reasons why I have no problem with parents. I really don't.
Right.
As long as that parent doesn't interfere with the coaching.
Yeah.
Why are you making comments about the coaching? He's already had 4 coaches talk to him, and the other coach talk to him, and players talk to him. That's pretty much covered. So where do we need the parent? The parent needs to see what are his needs. What are basic needs for any human, right? Hug, love.
Yeah.
Gotta give him one. Food, rest, right? And then keep their mind fresh. Now the way you're gonna keep the mind fresh is, let's say you just finished, you can see that he's upset. He goes like this, hey, by the way, do you want to go get something to eat? Do you wanna go? Don't do anything about, hey, let's talk about what happened. No, you don't want that. What you want is the other way around, is take him away from that part and make sure that you're still thinking of the big goal. So saying things like this, like with Tony, for example, or with Cassie, even though sometimes I coached him, sometimes I wasn't, but it doesn't matter. Even if I coach him, whatever, the game was finished, I would always give him a hug and tell him I love him. And then I'd walk away. And I would walk away. I would not sit there lingering. I would walk away. And I would say 99.9% of the time they would walk behind me and say, but Dad, what did you think? Because it's different if it's coming from you or if it's coming from the athlete. If the athlete wants your opinion and what he saw, that's a different situation of you demanding the opinion of what you saw. That's a big mistake. Worst mistake you can make as a parent is try to be a coach. You're not a coach, you're a parent. You can be a coach in a coaching situation, but at that point, the kid doesn't need that. The kid needs support, the kids need sometimes to be left alone. And you have to be able to know your kid, right? I just had a situation with a parent that we had to talk to that was really struggling and did something very, very bad. And then the parent came to me and he's not listening to me, and I said 3 things to the kid, and the kid basically, and he goes, why does it listen to you? And he says, because I'm not debating what he did wrong. I'm just bringing him to the moment and say, take your hood off when you talk to me. That's it. I don't have to show any emotion of that. There's no emotion on this. It's just about you being support, right? What do we need is support in all of us. We need support. But support sometimes can be a big hug. Why do I hug? That gives me energy. And I feel give others energy. Right?
For all that haven't been around Rico, Rico is one of the chief huggers, a world-class hugger.
So hugging, listening, great one. Reading what the kid needs. Maybe he's hungry. We heard the term hanger, right? Everybody's hungry and angry. There's a lot of them, particularly on the women's side. A lot of them are just hungry. And then so you have to be able to read that and just be a support system. And what's nice about a support system, it only activates when it's needed.
That's true, yeah. And then, interestingly now, because obviously you're a Hall of Fame coach in your own right, you've a 5-time Olympian son, Cassie played top level polo as well, your daughter for years and up till recently. For someone who has such a big immersion into water polo, I'm sure there's times in Tony's life where he was cut from teams, and you'd be in a position where as a coach you'd know this and this, but as a parent, did you ever find it tough to delineate between being a parent at the time and being a coach? Never.
For me, no, because I love my son. I love my daughter, right? So love shouldn't have anything to do with achievement, right? Love is love. Right. So if you made the team or not made the team, it's not like I have love them less or love them more. Because if I love him more when he makes the team, now you're making team more important than family. Never should happen. So I love him as a love, right? So it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me if he made it or not made it. What I would be is okay, well, let me know if you need to talk about it. I'm here. Right? And then that's a dad. Now, if he says to me, your dad, well, coaching-wise, what do you think I could have done better? And I said, well, I think on that situation, you didn't come back on defense fast enough, or you might have done this and this and this. So that's a coaching. But I'm not talking as a parent. I'm talking strictly as a coach. At that point, there is no sugarcoating. I'm a coach. But when I'm talking to him as a player, and that's a different situation, you have to know, and I've had quite a few friends that have kids, and they always used to call me, say, how were you able to separate the two? And I says, it's hard. I said, but you have to. Because you love your child. And if you love your child, you gotta separate it, because otherwise you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose the player and you're gonna lose the kid. Wow. You know, what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that you always have the child. You always gotta know that you got their backs, always. Now, if they did well, I used to say it all the time. Hey, your son did really well. I go, why are you telling me? Tell him.
Oh, I love that.
But if you say like this, your kid is so polite, tell me. Your kid is always listening, tell me.
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are dad things. Okay, yeah. I got that. I'll pat myself on the back. But hey, he's such a great shooter. Tell him. Just like when I told the other day when I told the kids, if you have to say you're good, you're not good. Have somebody else tell you you're good.
Yeah.
Right? So just tell him. You go ahead and tell him. I'm not saying that. Because when I talk to him, it's about being my son, being my daughter. I'm not going to talk about when he went to Stanford, when he was in the national team, when I was coaching. It doesn't matter. It's his achievement. It's his achievement, not mine. It's his. My achievement is good kid, respectful, respects his mom. That's my achievement.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proud of, right?
Yeah.
The part of it is that I'm a player. There's a lot of people that I hand on that. Kenny Schroeder, all his coaches, his teammates, his grandfather. I mean, all of those things have a lot to be said.
I love that.
You know, and then, but it happens a lot of times. I think, parents don't want to hurt the kid, but a lot of times they want to be so involved that they actually suffocate the kid. And I see that 90% of the time when kids struggle that way is actually pretty much the parents' problem. The parents are trying to live through the kid. The parent is trying to give the kid the best chance he can. The best chance your kid would ever have is to struggle.
I love it. That is so true.
If you make it easy for your kid, there was a great black basketball player, and he basically said, my grandfather worked just to put food on the table. My father struggled just to get his education. I was able to give my education and be successful. My son, this is the way he's saying, my son enjoys the success but doesn't work hard enough. His son is spoiled and he starts the whole cycle again.
Yeah,
that is the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is, he needs to struggle. You need to basically work for it. You need to, those things. I think part of the problem we have today is kids don't have responsibilities anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, kids at 10, 11 years old were riding their bikes and delivering newspapers. I mean, kids worked. Kids
Back in the day
jobs.
when graft was graft,
Yeah, kids work. I mean, even though my parents were well off, I mean, I had responsibilities. I mean, I had to take the dog for a walk. I had to make sure the room is clean. I had to make sure that, whatever my mom said something, make sure I follow up on it. And so I had responsibilities. A lot of time now, it's like, by the time I was 10, 11, by the time my kids are 10, 11, cruise right now, they can make their own breakfast. Yeah. Sorry. This time like this, the kid will starve to death. Because they don't know how to make a sandwich. They don't know how to boil water, right? So I mean, you have to have responsibility. So why would that be different in sports? In sports, whose responsibility is to be ready to play? It's not the coach. It's the player. It's not the dad. It's not the mom. Why are you even making a mention to the kid about, hey, you got a game today?
Yeah. Why is your practice bag being made for you? Yeah, absolutely.
Hey. So what are you going to do? You're going to do everything for them? You're going to wake up? You're going to blah, 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 blah? No. You have to have them mean something to them that they can come to you and say, hey, Dad, can you help me out on this? Because I have a big game tomorrow. And is there any way you can help me on this? I said, yeah, I'll help you. But if you don't ask, I won't offer. Sorry.
And then just to pull it back, Rico, just to, and we'll finish and we'll get into the real coffee after that. To those that didn't make the team, right?
Right.
Would you think that there's a real benefit in looking at tape after, watching your film?
Not right away.
Not right away, okay.
I think, when you go over and you don't make the team, right? You have to first kind of think about it, like what were the things, you always have to check 4 things. Technically, physically, mentally. You have to check.
Your 4 pillars, yeah.
So basically when you go in and you say physically, no, I was in the top, 10 percentile the whole time. Technique, I thought, I was passing, shooting the ball well. Tactically, a couple times I think I was late on a couple things. But mentally, maybe I got too emotional. Mentally, maybe I was trying too hard. Think about all those things that you hear over the years. Try too hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those are realities. Those are realities. Sometimes people try too hard. Sometimes people overtrain.
Yeah.
Overthink. So you go through that. So once you have gone through that and you kind of piece yourself into 4 pillars, then at that point you say, I think that was in that second game. Let me take a look at that game. And now you look at that game and you look at the second game and you go, wow, I can see that. I lost that one, I missed that one shot, and I got emotional about it, yell and scream, and then did not come back on defense. Maybe I didn't make it on that situation.
So that's really interesting. So you'd start with the 4 pillars and then pick the film off the back of the 4 pillars of where do I need to see the gray area in my 4 pillars?
Because the idea is, and this is what our brain is for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what do we have a brain for? To put a hat on? Right? I mean, the brain is for you to recap, right? So the brain, you need to recap. Some people can recap. I can recap mentally easily.
Yeah.
Some people recap by writing. Some people can recap by watching it again. Some people can recap. So each person, you need to find out, okay, where did I lose it? Yeah. Nobody has a horrible day all around. You might score 4 goals, but then miss 3 assists that the guy was wide open, right?
Yeah.
So is that the same as the guy that hit the assist but doesn't get the goal? I'll tell you right now, knowing all the boys as we do, if they miss the goal, they're mad at themselves. If they miss the assist, it's like,
Yeah.
But maybe the coach is looking for somebody that's a team player and is looking for the assist count, not the scoring, because he already has a score. So let's just say if I already have 3 guys who can score the ball really well, and I'm going to a tryouts and I need somebody that's going to get the ball to those guys, and you keep missing the assist and being selfish and not shooting the ball, you might still have a pretty good trials, but that's not what the coach is looking for. So understanding what the team needs, understanding that's the whole teammate, that's the competitive excellence. Understanding what the team needs, understand what the coach is looking for is very important in a player. And a lot of times the players that have been superstars in the sense that every time they finish practice, the parents said, you're the best out there, you're the greatest, you're the most amazing, you're a superstar, you're gonna be an Olympian. Is that kid really gonna rethink what he did? No, he's getting all this ribbon for participation and the most improved and coach's award and all these awards that basically 100 years ago didn't exist. You were number 1, then you got the first loser and the second loser. Oh, I was 12th. What do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Well, but he did his best. Okay. He tried really hard. Okay, first there are 2 things you said wrong. Try doesn't exist. Either do it or don't do it. Don't try.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah. And then hard according to who?
Yeah.
He worked hard according to who?
Yeah.
To him? To you? Or to the coach? Because if you go ask that coach, the coach is going to say, nah, he didn't work hard at all. But he goes to you and you go, oh, you're so good, you're just the best ever. And you're going, I won't say it.
I love it. I love it. All right, well, Rico, we're going to end it there for today. It's a Friday.
I know.
We're ready for a good weekend.
Yes,
There's some
I
good
am.
polo coming up this weekend, and we're going to check in again with you on Monday.
Sounds
and
good.
what we're going to do is we're going to ask the audience, we're going to ask the guys out there if they've any questions for Rico, and we'll stick it into our Monday morning coffee.
Sounds
How does
perfect.
that?
And can I say hi to Bailey and
Yeah, Yogan. Yeah.
Yogan? Hi Bailey, hi Yogan. Keep up the good work. Rico loves you. Bye.